while, and I know I'm a bit late with starting this trend on YouTube because everyone else in the world has done it, but I have promised you guys this since 100k, but I chickened out. I'm so sorry, I got nervous, but I think you guys deserve to know a little bit more about me. So thank you so much for 200,000 honeys. That is amazing. But here is my story. I have not told my name or age or anything like that to the internet. So this is kind of scary to me, but I want to be the one to say it before other people say it. So thank you so much for your time, and sit back and relax, and here we go. And I apologize for my drawing skills. They are horrible. And I'm using my sock as an eraser because this whiteboard did not come with one. Long time ago, there was a family of 3. My dad, my mum, and my brother, who was 2 at the time. On the 22nd of September 1993, my mum exploded! Okay, I'm just kidding, but unfortunately, I was not born a bee. I have not been known as a bee since I was born, but my name is Bianca. In Australia, we pronounce it like this. I know in other countries you pronounce it differently, but I have grown up knowing my name is Bianca, but I still like to be called Bee. So somehow this is Australia, and I apologize for everyone who lives on this blob of my drawing, but my family bought a house before I was born west of Sydney, about a couple of hours from Sydney on the countryside in New South Wales. A year after I was born in 1994, Mum and Dad bought a dog, and I had to rub out her tail there because breeders would cut their tails before selling them, so it was like a little ball. And she was the best dog. She was like a sister to me because we were like the same age, and she did everything. She would bring the newspaper in. She would protect us as a family. We lived on a street that I called an ET head since I was younger. I don't know the official name for it, but it was shaped like an ET head that was perfect for kids because there was no traffic, no cars. So we would ride our bikes along there, have parties, have barbecues together. Everyone knew each other in this street, and it was amazing. I don't know when my obsession with Nutella began, but Mum has always said that I have loved Nutella since I was a baby. I don't know why she gave it to me when I was a baby, but I got addicted at the first taste. I was so addicted to Nutella when I was younger that at my relative's house I tried to sneak it, but the glass jar smashed onto the floor, leaving Nutella all everywhere, and they were not too happy. I remember my brother, who is 2 years older, would tease me with a biscuit in front of me, and I was a baby at the time, and he made me crawl all over the backyard like a dog. So I would always end up getting dirty and Mum getting angry. But I always looked up to him. Apart from all our sibling fights, I wanted to be just like him, and I followed him all the time. He was so good at everything. He was good at soccer. He had so many trophies and medals around his neck. He won so many cross countries. I was jealous and I wanted to be like him, but I couldn't do anything. But I was very proud of him. We would always be with my cousins. They were all boys and the same age as my older brother and my neighbors. So I was always a tag-along little annoying girl, but this is what got me into gaming today. They were always playing games from Nintendo 64, from Sega, PC, PlayStation, but apart from my nerdy side, I was always outside in the bush, making cubby houses, making mud pies, and throwing it at the other kids from the neighborhood, and coming back home before dinner. One hot summer day on the weekend, Mum was gardening and I was playing with my mice, and she screamed. She found Roxy, our dog, bitten by a snake, and everything was closed on the weekend, even the vets, and my dad was at work, so she was panicking. I was only 5 to 6 years old, and she drove very far away and paid a lot of money at another vet to get a blood transfusion for Roxy. Thankfully, she survived. I like to think that she attacked the snake to protect Mum in the garden. And then another day we had ants, and Dad put out some poison to get rid of them, and Roxy got out and she ate the poison. We took her to the vet, and thankfully she survived again. Most of you probably could tell, but when I talk, I stutter. I never get the right words out, and I can't pronounce words because when I was young, I had to go to speech therapy, and always had older kids around to talk for me, so I could never talk and learn for myself. It's always a struggle for me till this day. Life was normal, but until the fights began. They would keep me awake and afraid when I was 5 to 6 years old. I remember that night Mum putting us in the car, and I looked back and saw the street and the house that I grew up on going smaller into the distance. Mum and Dad broke up. Dad stayed at the house, and Mum and my brother and Roxy and myself would stay at my nan's until Mum found a house to rent. That house, I did not have the best memories of it. It was dark, it was a gloomy house, and I always seemed to be sick there. I had no friends on the street or no bush to explore, just a busy road. But this was when we got our first computer. It was a huge, bulky computer that had Windows 98 on it. We didn't have internet at the time, so I just used it to play Paint for ages and watch the Dancing Baby screensaver for hours. That was the house that I witnessed my first act of violence in the world. That made me more aware that things are always not so perfect. I woke up one morning, got my bowl of cereal and sat on the floor to watch cartoons, but every channel was displaying 2 planes hitting 2 towers. I was nearly 8 years old and I was confused. I didn't know where this was in the world. We finally got a new house to rent not too far from my first house. This house was weird because it was behind another house and next to a bowling club. In Australia, there are clubs for old people to drink and play lawn bowls. This house I did enjoy. It was around friends, less of a busy road to ride our bikes on. But this was when I had 2 crushes and we were all riding our bikes along the street. I was stupid enough not to wear a helmet or shoes, and I was just in my school uniform, which was a dress. And I wanted to impress these 2 boys that I liked, and I went fast down the hill, but then my bike turned on in itself when I had my hands off it, and it went sideways, causing myself to flip over the bike onto the gravel road. And my dress went over my head, exposing probably my little Barbie undies to everyone on the street. And I got up and I was crying. I was covered in blood. I was covered in snot. And I went up to my crushes and I screamed and cried for my mum. And I'm surprised they never liked me back. My dad then sold our house and moved very far away to the coast with his partner. So then every second week it was an annoying trip to go see him, but it was always exciting because that's when I found my love for the beach. I taught myself how to surf and he got 2 dogs, Ella and Cassie, that I would swim with. He would always bring us out far past the smaller waves to surf the bigger ones. I always had bruises on my hips from the surfboard. But that's when I discovered one of my biggest fears. One time after stacking on a huge wave, seaweed would wrap around my leg and I felt like I was drowning. So I hate seaweed to this day and it's like my biggest fear. Plop, plop, plop. My nan also moved up near the coast, and because it's summer during Christmas in Australia, that was my greatest memory. Each morning we would go to the beach with my cousins and my brother before opening the presents, surf and a bodyboard. Mum got internet for us one day. I didn't really know how to use it, or because no one else had internet, like it was coming out, people using it more, and I was nearly 10 years old. So I think I just used it to go on a sea monkey webpage and watch the sea monkeys float around on the screen. But my babysitter would come around and she was older and she would go straight to the computer and go on the internet, and sometimes I would sit by her bored and lonely and just curious to see what she could do on it. And she explained that she was on a chat room site talking to a guy. That kind of creeped me out. But Mum finally bought me The Sims 1 and I played that for hours and I was hooked. So I didn't really care about the internet at that time. At my 10th birthday, my mum bought me a trampoline and I loved that thing so much. I would go on it before and after school. I always had to be dragged off of it. One day, my brother and I got into a fight and he pushed me off the trampoline and I hit my head on the concrete. I screamed and I was going to tell Mum, but he bribed me by giving me his phone. Now, at this time in 2004, 2003, the mobile phones were brick and they had an antenna on top and you couldn't do nothing. It was just buttons, just call your parents or something like that for emergencies. So I got that phone and I didn't know what to do with it, and my mum found out and we both got into trouble. But why did I get in trouble? Since mum was a single mother raising us both, there were always babysitters come in and out of my life. Until the day mum walked in with another man and introduced us. He turned out to be her partner, and he has 2 daughters himself who I would look up to because they were the opposite to me, blonde and much more mature. I was in year 4 at school and it was 2003. My mum informed us that we were going to move up the coast, which was 5 to 6 hours away, to a new home. I was upset that I had to leave my friends that I grew up since forever. So I wrote a letter and buried it in the backyard, telling the new owners of the house to take care of this house, and then we packed up and left. We arrived at our new house and it was a 2-story house. So I was really excited because I never got to live in a 2-story house. I thought only rich people could live in those. So the first thing that we did on the first day that we moved in, my brother and I got some pillows and we sat on them down the stairs, but we went too fast down the stairs on the pillows and my brother's foot went into the wall at the bottom, and there's still a hole today from his toe. During that week, it was summer during December and I was so hot, but we lived next to a river, so I asked my mum that I could swim in it. I got my bodyboard and a rope so she could pull me in when she was sitting at the bank reading a book. We then later found out that there were sharks in that river, and I was swimming around in that river, up and down, swimming to the bottom. We would always be at the beach all the time. I was enjoying a warm summer day building sandcastles when I stepped on a bee on the sand. It hurt so much that my mum took me to the hospital, where I was told that I was allergic and given crutches to walk on for a week. I had to sit on the lounge while my cousins went to the beach. It was the worst time ever. After moving during the summer holidays, it was a new year, it was 2004, and I was starting year 5 in primary school in February. I felt bad for my brother because he had to start high school in a new area, a new school, he knew no one there, because in high school in Australia, it is year 7 to year 12. So there's no like middle school or anything like that, it's just straight on from primary school to high school. So there are 18-year-olds when there are 12-year-olds in the same school. I felt really bad for him. During primary school, I met some of my friends who I still talk to today. One of them talked about Habbo Hotel and said I should join. So being the new kid at school, I wanted to make friends, so I went home and used the dial-up internet, listening to that soothing shh, ding, ding, ding sound when you are connecting, and becoming obsessed with Habbo. I was only 10 years old. I played that for about 10 years, on and off occasionally. You could say that was my online childhood. One year I became a DJ for the site and people complimented on my voice and my accent. I had an awful mic, but everyone thought I was funny with my commentary. I was then upgraded to DJ manager. After really being known on the site for a long time, I was quite popular, but then in 2011, my account got hacked. And I was so devastated. I didn't know what to do or what else to play. But then one of my friends suggested that I should play Minecraft. And honestly, if I never got hacked on Habbo, I think I'd still be a DJ manager on Habbo till this day. And probably not playing Minecraft. But back to the story. Skipping ahead, I started high school in 2006 and met some new friends and carried on with my old friends. I was never the smartest in class, especially getting put in the lowest class, with teachers who had no passion at all and other children mucking around, never letting you focus, interacting with others, doing my favorite subjects, which were art, sport, history, and languages. Everything was going so well until the day I pretty much got bullied for the first time. Some of the older kids tied our bags to the fence and taunted us. I went home that day so upset, but instead I found my mum upset in the kitchen. Roxy was put to sleep that day. It was 2007 and she was 14, the same age as me. She had always been in my life through all the changes and all the moving. We then got Rosie, who you know from my vlogs and my pictures, in 2008, and she has been my best friend since. She's very smart and knows a lot of words, except she gets a little too excited when seeing someone and pees everywhere. One time I had a sleepover and Rosie somehow was sitting on top of my friend's bag and my other friend was playing with Rosie and she peed in my friend's bag and on her hair straightener. Oh my god. I dated boys during high school and I was so nervous that I would normally break up with them in a couple of days. But I started dating someone for 6 months and I thought he was the one. I thought we were going to get married and everything, and I was only 14 and he broke up with me and I was so upset. But honestly, I was so stupid to think that. You do find someone else and you do just live your life. Don't worry, your world's not going to end. I then started to hang out with older people with my young friends and we would be very silly and sneak out acting like we were older. I was 15 at the time and met another boy, as some of you know him as Gingy from my vlogs. I met him at a party that me and my friends went to. He was so funny and kind and I instantly felt feelings. That night, me and my friends went back to mine for a sleepover. I was fangirling and couldn't stop talking about him until we all fell asleep. Sorry, friends. We started to date and I got my first job at the movie theatre. That job was awesome because I would sneak around the corner and drizzle warm chocolate over the popcorn I'd make when the cinema wasn't too busy. At this time of being 15, I stopped playing The Sims and Habbo and just going on the computer in general. I was always outside every day going to the beach, volunteering as a lifeguard and working at the cinemas, and I had a boyfriend. I went through a party stage until I was all partied out when I hit 18. I remember one time I was playing Sims at my boyfriend's house and he was playing Minecraft on Xbox. I had never heard of that game and laughed at it thinking, what is this game? During high school, I passed my L's test pretty well, but then I had to take the bus to school so many times and my other friends had their red P's and I was really jealous. So when I went for my P test, I nearly crashed the car and the instructor was yelling. So I failed that twice and I had to stay on my L's. But then I finally got my P's and I passed my green P's as well. So now I have passed my full license and I don't have to wear P's anymore. Ever again in my life. I got back into gaming and would stay inside more often when I turned 18. At school, I enjoyed hanging and talking with every kind of group in my year, or clique as you may call it, but I had a main group of friends, but they weren't into gaming like I was, so I was embarrassed when I started my YouTube channel when I started to upload Mario Kart videos. I began to drift from my real life friends to talk with other gamers on a chat room called XAT, and play Mario Kart every night. I would start to skip school to play Mario Kart and have a hotel, but then HSC came around so quickly, which is high school certificate for graduating. I do wish I had studied more, but it's just impossible for me to focus in class and doing the homework. I did my exams and I was so disappointed in myself. All my friends got amazing marks and enrolled for university, but I was left here in my town trying to figure out what to do with my life, but I had my boyfriend at the time, so things weren't that bad. One day, after uploading so many videos of Call of Duty, Mario Kart, The Sims, I got one comment saying you're cool and they subbed, and I thought that was amazing that someone appreciated my gaming and my commentary, so I took it to full charge. Throughout school, I didn't know what to do for a job, but I took courses in childcare services and had obtained my Certificate 2 from TAFE when I was in year 11. So with my qualifications, I had my mum talk to a friend who owned a preschool and got me a job a month later. I graduated high school. This preschool was amazing, 3 different rooms from babies to toddlers to children. I worked there for 2.5 years, starting in the toddler room first year, then babies room second year, and half the year in the preschool room. I felt so good working there. I thank them so much for the opportunity that they gave me. They even let me run the room sometimes, which was a big confidence boost. A lot of my older fans of my YouTube channel would remember me getting up early to record, then I'd work for 8 hours and come home, edit and upload, and then repeat. During this time I was commenting on other people's videos to check my channel out. I thought this was normal, but tended to get a lot of hate from it. I then started to talk to Straub. He introduced me to some other guys. This was before the Cube was formed and we would all talk on TeamSpeak and play Minecraft. Every morning I was excited to be talking to these guys. I know I get this a lot. I do have big black bags underneath my eyes. I am always so tired. I am low in iron deficiency and I faint a lot in public. My cousin was getting married in Koh Samui on the beach in Thailand, and they were saying their vows to each other when I took the spotlight and I fainted in front of everyone. That was so embarrassing and I felt so bad. Another time when I fainted was the time I was going overseas for the first time. I was coming back from Thailand and I felt sick, so I told my boyfriend I was going to the bathroom and I fainted, hit my head on the sink, and you know how small those toilets are on the plane. I woke up on the floor. I also fainted in Specsavers in public. I woke up to so many people around me and it was so scary, and they, what's wrong? And I was like, it's okay, this happens regularly. I have always been told that I had good eyesight since I was little. I could sit at the back of the class and read the board from far away until I left school and I was playing games too much and I strained my eyes from playing and not taking breaks from the screen. So I was told that I was -1 in both eyes of my vision, so I had to get glasses. Since dating at a young age from 15 for 5-ish years on and off, I guess we drifted apart. I was getting more into gaming and he wanted different things, so pretty much growing up with another half, it was hard for me to cope as a single person. I didn't know what to do. It was a rough time, especially at preschool, when I had to force a smile every day for the children and pretend to be happy. It was so exhausting. I left YouTube for a bit. My family weren't that supportive and thought it was stupid. I had no friends around me, so I gave up. I isolated myself from everyone. I wanted to disappear. I did stupid things that nearly made me disappear forever. But MD affliction did keep my head high enough to keep going. One day, my friend Strawberry Jam wanted to move out and needed a roommate. So in 2 to 3 weeks of planning, telling my boss at work that I was leaving, saying bye to the children at the preschool, they begged me to stay and they cried and it was so heartbreaking. But I packed my car with all that I had and said goodbye to my mum and her boyfriend, and I drove from my state, New South Wales, for 15 hours to Mitchell State, which is Victoria, to Melbourne. When driving alone for that long, your mind tends to talk to itself, having doubts if this was the right thing to do. And honestly, it was the best year of my life. I had 30,000 subscribers when I moved out, and it was a risk to take, but I got to do what I love, which was YouTube every day. Growing my channel, talking to fans, recording with friends, and being able to travel the world to conventions, and amazing internet in Melbourne. Also having friends down the hallway that lived in the same apartment who did YouTube was amazing and everything was perfect. But apart from having fans, there will always be someone out there who hates you. I get hate every day. Some days I don't even want to go on my computer, but I remind myself that there are people like you who I bring a smile to their day, and this is just so amazing to me to be able to do that for so many of you. I forget about the other people who are hating, because the wise words from what my mum told me and brought me up with is that this is your life, you live it the way you want to, don't listen to others. All throughout my YouTube until today, I have never released my name or age to the public. I did this to protect my old work, to protect my family and stuff like that. So many people started rumors about my name that made me laugh until one day, as I do after uploading a video, I enjoy reading the comments, but one comment exposed my name, my age, my family life, and I was so scared that I cried. I got up from my computer and laid on the floor and I was crying. Mitchell found me there and I was so upset. I stayed in bed for about 2 to 3 days, isolating myself. I then got over the fact about my name and settled down. My name has been said so many times accidentally by my friends and myself, and no one seemed to notice. On my stream, it popped up one time and it has been said by 2 of my friends when I was streaming in the background. But then to everyone who respected my privacy, you are the cool ones. Thank you so much. Sometimes I just want to be a lone wolf. I don't talk to anyone for days, to family or friends. So they do get annoyed with me, but I just can't help it. I get stuck in my own little world for a bit. So I'm sorry to the close ones who are watching. So after a year of living in the city, our lease ran up on the apartment and I had the option to choose to stay in the city or go back to the coast where my friends and my family and the beach are, but the city does hold the internet and my best friend and streaming on Twitch with good internet. So I was stuck in between, but I decided to go back to the coast and fly back like a little bee. Buzz buzz! It was very hard saying bye to Mitchell because he is my best friend in this world, and I thank him so much for everything he has done for me and for being my best friend and putting up with my crazy diva side and my emotional state. Even with him saying good morning every morning, it put a smile on my face and got me ready for the day. I could go on about how much he means to me in this video, but this is my drama life. So I packed my car up again and also a removal-less truck this time because I had more furniture like my bed and my desk and my computer, and drove for 10 hours to my new house for new chapters and opportunities. I've always been private with my personal life, especially with relationships. Since being in a group with lots of boys, a lot of younger viewers would ship us and make it uncomfortable at times. I tried to tell people on Twitter that now I have a boyfriend, but they all went crazy and yelled at me, telling me to date someone else and who they want for their fanfics. I deleted the tweet and cried. I really wish some people could be happy for me. So I do have a boyfriend. I am back with Gingy and we're both very happy. The house is very cute and very close to my family and the beach, but unfortunately the internet is not good enough for YouTube and streaming. So I got to hold on to things that I love for a little bit, but I have to move back to Melbourne so I can do YouTube and streaming, and Gingy will be joining me. And we're both very excited. I have all of you to thank, and I wouldn't be sharing my story if you all hadn't taken your time of the day to press that subscribe button and watch my videos. Every morning I wake up, roll over, grab my phone and check my Twitter, Vine, Instagram, my recent videos to see the lovely comments and edits that brighten up my day. So I can't thank you all enough for what you do and all the impact it has on me. Remember that I love you, be weird and stand out, be unique as possible, and don't worry what other people think. You are you. I hope you have a lovely day or night wherever you're from. I'm buzzing out, and this has been my story. Thank you for being patient. I love you, honeys. Bye.